Hey everyone, Orlando from PHP Podcast. So I'm about to do what most YouTube resellers probably shouldn't do. So if you're gonna shoot a video of going to a thrift store, you want to go to the honey hole, the place that you're gonna find profitable items that are gonna make you money to create a nice clickbait YouTube title. Instead, I'm gonna go to what I consider to be one of the most expensive stores that I try to avoid. But I want to prove a point that there's still profitable items. So let's see what happens. It's an hour before closing time, so if there's anything good, it may be already all gone by other resellers picking it up, but still I think there's stuff. So let's go. All right, so one of the first places I like going to first is the shoe section. And I already saw a pair of Merrells. The only problem is not the price, but see how they're worn. Now, if they're solid and it's usually, nubs on nubs, definitely want to pick up. I'm gonna have to pass on these. All right, so I didn't find anything in dress shoes, but I went over to athletic shoes, and I always love seeing that right there. Hoka ones, always a win for me. Let's see what the price is. It is $9.99, and the soles aren't. They're not terrible though. They're not, brand new, but these will still sell for a good price. Probably for about 40 to 50 bucks. So definitely a pickup. After I look at shoes, I like looking at shirts, and I came across this shirt. So Tommy Bahama. Now, it's priced kind of crazy, $19.99, but if it's embroidered in the back, there's still profit to be made. Sometimes you can sell it for 60 to 80. So let's take a look at comps and see if it's worth it. All right, so I looked at comps. I even looked at Terapeak, and yeah, the highest selling was $30. But I know I'll get a lot of heat for this, but I think this shirt is worth 60 plus. So I'm gonna list it, and I'll keep you guys tuned in. So I'm gonna keep this in the video because Mike and I are all about keeping it real. So the as is, there's a reason why it was labeled that way. So if you see the stains there around the collar, then there's the stains right here. Then there's kind of, it's like a hole right there. And some holes, and in the thrift store under lighting you couldn't see it, so you always got to double check stuff. That was my fault, complete fail, and it is what it is. I just came across this gem right here. It is selling for $5.99. So this is a vintage, this is like a batting jersey, like for warm-ups and so on, and it is a vintage brand, or Roman Sport. Usually I find them in hats. I haven't found a jersey. I haven't seen one in a long time. There are no comps, but take a look to the side here. The White Sox batting practice jersey and how much it's sold for. So definitely gonna pick this up and gonna list high. Whenever I spot rugby stuff in the wild, I always tend to pick it up. So this is South Africa rugby shirt. This one is selling for $5.99. It's probably a good $30 to $35 sale, maybe more. So we'll see what happens with this one. Before I move on to the video, you're wondering where are the expensive prices. I kind of showed you a couple, but take a look at this. $49.99 and comps are $30. Now let me show you another one real quick. All right, so I actually think this was at Ross for maybe $30 to $35, but take a look at the price here, $79.99. Just insanity. You've heard me talk about these on the podcast. These are money. These Eden Pure heaters, but take a look. I thought it was gonna be all good, and then I lifted this, and there we go, $99.99. And it's getting to the end of winter, and it's probably not gonna sell for more than $200. So for me, this is a pass. All right, so I'm gonna call it quits at this store because I want to make sure I have enough time to get to the next store, hopefully find some goods. But it was a profitable run. It took a little bit of digging through stuff, but still found stuff. So off to the next store. All right, luckily, daylight savings time just happened last week, or maybe this past weekend, and so still able to go to the store, still a little bit of daylight. I got about 45 minutes left, and so I'm hoping there'll be some scores. This store is kind of, the prices are kind of median, so we'll see what happens, but I have found some good stuff, so let's go. All right, so as always, I start with shoes, and then I came across these Zumba shoes, which I haven't sold these, but I've sold Zumba shoes before for a decent profit. Now, let's see the price on these. These are $9.99, and they're high tops. They're kind of unique, so I'm gonna pick these up. Probably gonna try to flip them for about 40 to 50. Right, so no comps on this one, but cycling jerseys sometimes can be money. I'm gonna pick this up because this is new with tags, and it's $9.99, so it's gonna be about $9 with my discount. But I think it'll sell for 30 to 35. Things were looking pretty bad, but this Marmot jacket right here, not so bad. $14.99, probably around the $12.50 with my discount. Super bright colors. I'm always a fan of bright pink and purple. They tend to sell well, so we'll see how this does. But I'm gonna pick this up. All right, I'm gonna call it quits. They are closing. There's no more music because the store is closed. So I gotta get out of here. Just picked up a few items, and then I'll do a quick recap right after this. Okay, so the last store wasn't the greatest, but part of the reason being is there were a bunch of resellers there. I knew one of them. We started talking. Probably lost about 20 minutes of time, but it was still profitable. ROI will come later. He shared with me some of his latest sales. I shared with him some of mine. And, you can't beat the ROI that comes through more knowledge. I do think the win of this last trip is this San Diego Padres batting jersey. Remember, it's vintage by Roman Sport. I think it'll go for over 100, but I think it's going to be a long tail item. Now, overall, spent an hour and a half sourcing. Probably going to be 2.5 hours from sourcing to listing. I expect, after spending $68 on the conservative side, I'm going to net 300, maybe a little more. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, some of these items sell before this video drops, and I can show you guys what it sold for. Anyways, there's still stuff out there to be found. And with that being said, make sure to be real, be relevant, and be reselling. Late.